What's up? This is Metal Nate.
And this is Brutal Brian.
And we are here with Rob Flynn from Machine Head. How are you doing today, Rob? Oh, don't wake anyone up.
I'm doing awesome. How are you, man?
Dude, I'm doing good. How long has this tour been going for you? Like a week or two?
Yeah, about a week.
And good crowd so far?
It's been awesome, man. Just sold out the House of Blues the other night, and just been a blast. That's our first time, and
yeah, that's what I was gonna say
too.
I hope we don't disappoint. I see people are gradually trickling in, and we had a bunch there at the beginning, so.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully people fill in by the time you guys go on. I mean, I hate to see it not sell out tonight. And you released your new record, Unto the Locust, in September of 2011, and that's your follow-up to The Blackening, which came out in 2007. How has it been received so far, do you think? Were you surprised at all with the fans' reaction? I mean, you debuted on Billboard Top 200 at number 22, and yeah. I mean, that's the highest you've ever done, right?
Yeah, it was our biggest first week sales, as well as the highest we'd ever charted. You know, you can chart higher but still sell less than your previous, and that was the one thing that was a huge thing. I mean, that it went actually up. It was a big deal. So yeah, man, we were really stoked. I mean, people were really into it. Especially now with the tour, getting to see, you know, for the longest time we were on Mayhem and we're playing Locust, and it's the only, we want to play other songs, but you can't because nobody knows them, and so to now be out there playing it live with everybody knowing it's killer, man. I'm really stoked.
And I don't know if it was this release that pushed you past it, but I read that more than 2.4 million sales now for Machine Head total.
Yeah, man.
That's incredible. I mean, especially with illegal downloading and people downloading records now instead of buying them. That's an impressive number, and I mean, I'm sure it's only going to grow.
Yeah.
Does it ever make you just like step back and be like, whoa?
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, you know, some kind of statistic will come across your radar every once in a while like that. I mean, I don't really go around thinking about it very often. You know, every once in a while somebody will say that, and I'll be like, you remind me about that. I'll be like, wow, it's pretty awesome. I mean, we're a band that's, you know, we've played really heavy, extreme music for our whole career. We've never been on the radio, we've never been on MTV, and yet we've somehow managed to grow and keep on doing what we're doing, and people still like it. So yeah, we're very fortunate to be able to do that. You know, we've outlasted pretty much all of the bands that came out when we came out, and even, you know, bands that we toured with like 7-8 years ago. So it's, yeah, I mean, it's a cool, I look at more of those kind of things as like big accomplishment. And the fact that we're still here now, we're playing some new territory for the first time, new for us at least.
Yeah, this is your first headlining tour in the U.S. Like without, I mean, Mayhem didn't really count because you were headlining the Extreme stage and then you were on the main stage for part of it. But this is the first one in like 4 years.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm really glad that you were able to do that for this record. And are you getting a lot of markets that you haven't been to that on this tour? Is this like, because I know you said this one is first time ever, but
yeah, not. I mean, most of them are all the main markets that we usually hit, but we're going to Canada, and we needed a day to fill in, so we're like, Maine? Yeah, sure.
It's on the way, yeah, why not?
Our booking agent just kind of threw the dart at Maine. All right.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you.
I got some friends here that play here a lot. Chimera dudes say that Portland, Maine's pretty sick.
Yeah, Chimera comes here, I think, almost every year.
Yeah, they're saying that it's really, you know, people are starved up here, and we love that. We love to play to, you know, places like that.
Absolutely. And the new album opens with I Am Hell Sonata in C major, and that begins like a haunting vocal melody in Latin, and it tells the story of a female arsonist. That's what I was reading. Where on earth did you come up with the concept for that? And the Latin at the beginning is so cool and so different from, I mean, it's definitely way different from anything else. Like any other ideas that any metal bands have, like definitely put a Machine Head stamp on it.
Yeah, I had written that melody on guitar, and then as I was doing it, I was thinking like, hey, what could I say over this, or what could I? And I just started singing, and for some reason those words "Sangre Sane" came to me, which means blood saint in Latin, and so the more I just thought about it, I I demoed it a couple times, and I was just playing guitar, and the more I added guitar, the less I liked it. So I started taking away the guitar layers that I put in there, and pretty soon it was just vocals, and then I just continued to build on it. I added the falsetto thing, and then Phil and I started talking about how, that I had this song, these lyrics for this song called I Am Hell, and that I had this intro for it, that it was, about what it was about. And then he came up with the idea of writing a song about, like, if you found an arsonist's diaries, like what it would say and the things that it would be writing about. And I was like, fuck, that's pretty cool. I could maybe put that into the I Am Hell song. I am hell, creating hell on earth by starting these fires. And so I wrote it, and then I sat there and I wrote it initially as a male arsonist, male serial killer, and I couldn't really connect with it. I was kind of getting into this me thing and like how I would feel, and I couldn't, like, I don't really feel like burning down those things. And so I started researching arsonists, and I started researching pyromaniacs, and I stumbled upon this psychology article about female arsonists and how in the psychology world they're considered the monsters of the psychology world, because where a male arsonist will do these horrific acts out of revenge or domination or control, when a woman does it, it's out of love.
That's kind of twisted.
It's real, and I was like, wow, that's so fucked. Like, that's so fucked up. And so it really kind of, it turned a switch in my head, and so then I rewrote it as this female and doing these things out of love, and it was really intense. It really took on a really dark tone, and so the whole theme of it kind of played into it. And then the words that I'm saying in Latin in the beginning, Bellator Inferni, it's like warrior fire, and all these things about fire, and that tied into it's 18 tracks of a cappella vocals that I did at the beginning of the song. So
how many times did you redo it before you nailed it, got the exact sound you wanted?
It happened pretty, I was just kind of rolling with it, and I had a lot of ideas, and we mixed it, and just that, sometimes you just have these magical moments where you just capture a moment. Like, I did that thing pretty much all just one take, like all 18 tracks, I pretty much did one take each, and then we mixed it really fast for a demo, and it just turned out so cool. We actually remixed it for the record, and it sucked. Like, it just didn't have the same vibe. I couldn't get the same, like, we couldn't get the same blend, and I was like, fuck it, man, just take it from the demo. So we just chopped it off the demo, stuck it onto the record, and it's like you just capture these moments every once in a while, and you gotta keep that, because it's more about, to me, music is about capturing a moment. It's not about how perfect it was played, or the sound of the microphone, or it's none of that. It's about the vibe, it's about the energy, it's about hearing that person's soul.
Right on. And right away from that first track, it's clear that you guys, following up the Blackening, aren't trying to touch on the current popular trends, or it's definitely not like breakdowns or anything like that. Like, you're doing your own thing. There's no, like, there's this whole gent thing going on with some newer music, and there's none of that present in it. It's like Machine Head. It's still Machine Head. It's not Blackening Part 2. It's Machine Head, and it's a new record that sets itself apart from the Blackening. Yet it still it builds on it.
Thanks, man.
It's incredible.
That's a great compliment. Thank you.
And how did you write for that record then? Because you guys wrote right before Mayhem Fest, right? And then you went home. You went back home and did mixing or producing during that.
No, we started.
Or was it a longer process?
Yeah, we toured till the beginning of 2010, March. We wrapped up touring for the Blackening, and then by June, Dave and I were in the jam room writing. And so we started writing in June of 2010, and then wrote until April of 2011, and then we went to the studio. So
oh, okay, right. I was thinking more studio.
We started writing. Yeah. Dave and I get down there. It's a lot of times it's Dave and I just working on stuff and hashing out the drums and the guitar parts and demoing. So and then Phil and Adam will come in and they'll bring in riffs. Phil will bring in a lot of riffs and just be like, here,
dump them on you.
Yeah, take them apart, put them together, that kind of thing. And so I just do that, and then I'm mixing my own things. And so that was pretty much it. It was pretty easy. You know?
And you got 7 tracks, but they're long tracks as usual. What possesses you to write such long songs? I mean, it's a long album. It's longer than a lot of releases this year.
Yeah.
And last year it was 50 minutes, but it's 7 tracks that are as long as like 8 or 9 minutes in length.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I grew up loving Merciful Fate, and they wrote really long songs too. So, you know, for us, that's kind of the, you know, the Masters, Merciful Fate, the early Metallicas, the Zeppelins, the Sabbaths. You know, War Pigs is 7 minutes long. So, you know, somewhere along that, for us, a song doesn't need to. You know, we have short songs on the record that are 4 minutes long. We have some songs on The Blackening even that are, you know, 10.5 minutes long. For us, it's more about the journey that the song takes you on than about, you know, we're never sitting there like with the clock or,
Gotta finish the song.
hey, you know, gotta wrap it up. It's like we're letting the song go where it goes, and sometimes it only goes for 4 minutes, and sometimes it goes for 8 minutes, and everything in between. And for us, it's as long as it's exciting and as long as it's got this energy and this forward momentum and isn't kind of getting stuck in this jammy shit or spacey delay shit or just excessive noodling, then it's cool for us.
Right on. And how did you manage to handle the hectic schedule during Mayhem Fest though? Because you were flying home on off dates, weren't you?
Yeah. I have no fucking idea.
To California.
It was just like a fucking blur, dude. Like, if I stopped for 1 second, you know, I'd probably have fallen apart, but I just had to keep on. You know, sometimes when you're in motion, it's just better to stay in motion. So it was fucking crazy. I mean, and I'd play 3 shows in a row, listen to fucking mixes all night, you know, get up at 4 in the morning, fly back to Oakland, land, mix for 10 hours, go to sleep at midnight, wake up at 4 a.m., fly back, land, you know, I'm doing a vocal warm-up in the cab, jump out, throw my gig shirt on, get on stage. Like, it was fucking crazy at times, man.
It didn't show. I mean, I was there in Mansfield. We were both there, and you guys killed it.
That was the one show where I just got out of the cab and threw my shirt on.
It really didn't show.
Yeah, right on. Cool. I played it off. You know, it was just a crazy time, and you know, it was just something that had to be done. I mean, the guy who was mixing our record actually had a family tragedy happen, and so he had to leave the project. And so it was just like, we have to finish this. There's no, okay, I guess I'm finishing the mix. So
Right on.
We thought about giving it to an Andy Sneap or giving it to somebody else, but you know, I had produced it, and so me and my engineer had been demoing everything, and so we kind of knew how everything was. And you know, some of these tracks are so, I mean, they've got an orchestra on them. It's very orchestral. There's 104 tracks to mix on one song. You know, it's like we couldn't just go, all right, figure it out, you know, hand it over to Sneap, check it out, 104.
And by then you probably were pretty invested in the material yourself,
Yeah.
and you wanted to see it through. And
yeah, I mean,
make sure it was done
Darkness
right.
Within, 90 tracks, Who We Are, 104 tracks. It's like we couldn't just hand it over, so it was like, it'd probably be quicker for us to do it with just me and him still continuing to do it, so.
yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but wow, right out of the taxi just to perform, it's nuts. And has touring changed for you with Machine Heads since you've all grown older and you have kids? You have 2 sons.
Mm-hmm.
Has that changed anything for you? I mean, do you tour less often, I guess, somewhat, or do you take them on tour with you, or how does that work?
We just toured for 3 years on The Blackening. That was our longest tour cycle ever. So.
But do you get breaks in them at all?
Sometimes, you know, it depends. It's kind of, I'd say we tour more now than we did.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, we've always toured a lot. I mean, we knew early on that the way that we were going to get our music out to people was going to be from touring. We knew we weren't going to be played on radio. We knew that MTV wasn't going to touch a band like us. We knew that the only way for us to do this was to win people over. We knew we had a killer live show. We knew that we were one of the most ferocious metal bands on the planet. And we had to get out there and do it. And that it would be probably harder that way. You know, it's definitely more of a challenge to get your music out that way, but ultimately it makes a deeper bond and a deeper, you know, connection with your fans. And you know, we're road dogs. We love doing it. So compared to the early days when, we'd be riding in vans, or, we'd be sharing a bus with 2 bands and 15 people on a bus.
Yeah.
I mean, we got 2 buses now, we get hotels on days off. So yeah, it's a little bit different in that sense, that the accommodations have become better, and that kind of became a necessity just to keep, your head intact after 3 years of touring, after all this time. But yeah, I mean, that's my bunk. I sleep in it every night. We don't get hotels when we're traveling because we're just traveling. So yeah, I live basically in a living room with 10 people on wheels.
That sounds like it's not. I mean, you're used to this lifestyle, right?
Dude, I've been touring since I was 18 years old. I don't know anything else. Like, this is. I mean, I'm happy with it. I love doing this. I love doing what we do, and we love doing what we do. And we know that we're, like I said earlier, we know that we're incredibly lucky to be able to do what we do and get paid for what we do. And, the money that we make just goes back into the band and back into the light show and back into paying the gear and the crew so that we can have this big, arena rock show that we're carrying around with us.
Okay. And, if we wanted to talk politics for a second, I don't know if you're willing to talk politics, but what do you think of the current Republican candidates, or the current president?
I'm not really digging I'm not really into the Republicans, but I'm not really into the Democrats either. I mean, I think they're both kind of full of it. I feel like, the whole thing's kind of a farce, really. Like, we're, the choices between this guy and that guy. But, it's just so skewed. Like, these candidates come out of nowhere, and it's like, who is this guy? Like, who wants this person to be the president? And then all of a sudden you hear about him, and it's kind of like, well, we've got this illusion of freedom of choice. And I don't really feel like it is the freedom of choice, because, I don't know if any of those guys would be the one that what I want. Some of them may be a little more in line with what I believe, but I don't know, I think they're all kind of full of it.
It's gonna pick like the lesser evil, maybe, and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's cool that we just pulled out of Iraq. It's been 4 years. That was supposed to happen a long time ago. But I don't know, I just, I think most politicians are all full of it, man.
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair assessment.
I think most,
yeah.
That shit's all, they've got their lobbyists and they've got all their corporations that are backing them, and if they fucking step out of line, man, they're getting fucked. They're not going to be able to do the things. I think the corporations just have them so in their pocket that they can talk a good talk, but at the end of the day, what's really going to change until the corporations are taken care of.
And on a lighter topic, Super Bowl. Do you have like a pick for who you think is going to win, or who you're rooting for?
I'm definitely not rooting for the Pats.
Oh! Heartbreak. Okay. I won't take offense. Well, we're
is this
New
close
England.
to? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess it is, right? Yeah.
There's no main team. that would be
Yeah. All right.
if there was. And then, how long are you going to tour in support of this album? I guess just to wrap things up.
Let's get over chest infection here. What's that?
How long do you think you're going to tour in support of this one? So you just did 3 years for the Blackening. Is it another 3 years for To the Locust?
I don't know, man. I think we'll probably be a little more selective about what we do this time around. Right now we're touring with a really big production, projectors, and we're carrying a light package with us that's top notch. And I love. Maybe it's just a reaction to opening for so long, but I'm fucking loving headlining. God, I'm so into having our show and our lights and our trip and being able to do, not got some dude like, hey, you gotta get off stage now, like, fuck, we'll play as long as we fucking want to, if I want to fucking talk for 5 minutes, I'll talk for 5 minutes, and I don't need, my mom gonna get me in trouble, for going over time by 3 minutes. So it's killer, man. And if we did support somebody, I would want to be able to bring the stuff that we have and do the show that we're doing. Like, that's what, I come over here in America, this is the first time we've really been able to afford to be able to carry all of the stuff. When we tour over in Europe, we usually have a really big show, and you know, it's taken America a little bit of time to get up
Catch
to
up?
speed with that. Yeah. And you know, we finally are at that point, and we're happy about that, and I love that. I love being able to have this. And so if we do take more support slots, it's going to be with, you know, the proviso that we can have our show and not just get stuck in front of some dude's drum riser for 40 minutes.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for doing this interview today. We really appreciate it.